Welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a weekly hop that I host here on my YouTube channel with my tribe. There are 10 of us now, so you will get plenty of inspiration from one scrap lift. This week we are scrap lifting this gorgeous layout that I'm going to post up here in the corner. I will have the original creator's information down below in that description box, so please make sure you check that out as well as the playlist. If the girls are playing this week, their videos will be in that playlist. If they are not playing, you can go ahead and check out their channels and Instagram handles in that description box below to see what other things that they are up to. It's a pretty talented team, and I am so happy that I get to participate along with them. So this layout has three 3x4 photos. I have 4 sitting here. I'm not going to use both of the photos of my husband and I. This is from our weekend away in Gatlinburg and at Pigeon Forge. This is the restaurant that we ate. JT Hannah was the name of the restaurant. And I am using my February counterfeit kit / how to kill a kit with style here. And so I've got 3 pieces of pattern paper, a piece of burlap, some burlap trim, and then some flowers and some titles, or some alphas. And then I've got this wood veneer here that broke. So it says together, and I thought I would use this word unplug from my kit, so that it would say something like unplugged together. Anyway, so I'm going to pause. We're going to get started, and I will be right back. Okay, so this piece of pattern paper here, I am actually just using as a piece to anchor that burlap paper. I cut off the top from the paper pad, and then I'm going to take this text piece. This is an old basic gray paper. It's actually brand new to my stash. I've bought it within the last 30 days from my local scrapbook store. I think it's from Life Captured or something like that. Anyway, I cut 1 inch off the top and 1 inch off the side. The blue paper, I'm cutting 3/4 of an inch off the top and 3/4 of an inch off one side. That way I have an easy mat for this photo. So as I mentioned, this piece here is being used to anchor that burlap. I'm going to secure it with my ATG, and if I feel like I need to, I'll go ahead and stick some wet glue under there as well. I did not want to just use the burlap as a background because it's not very stable, and as you can see, it sheds a lot, but I did want the texture from the burlap to show on this layout, which is also one of the reasons why I ended up in my February kit. So now I am going to go ahead and mat the text onto that beautiful slate blue, and I'm going to get that background on here complete. I am putting wet glue and ATG on this piece because I want it to stick to that burlap, and I'm not sure the ATG will hold it alone, but I wanted the ATG on there so that it would secure it as the wet glue dries. As I mentioned, I have 4 photos. I'm only using 3. I'm not going to use both of the photos of my husband and I. They're almost the exact same photo. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. Now, the original creator, Darla, has film strips underneath that left-hand side of her top photo, and I believe there was a film strip on the bottom side right. In place of that, I'm going to be putting this burlap trim that I purchased from Amazon. I'm going to just start tucking things here just to get an idea of where everything is going to end up on the layout before I do any major gluing. I will have to put some foam adhesive of some sort underneath my photos because that trim is very thick and I want my photos to lay on my page level, so I will put some foam adhesive there. I'm trying to use up some of these feathers. I struggle using feathers on my layout. I have never done a layout where I've been perfectly happy with them, but we're going to give it a good whirl here and see if I can't use these on here, make it look half decent, and that way I get them out of this kit. I almost always try to make my kits fairly versatile, so I included a lot of the floral bits and the feathers and several other things came from the Great Escape, which it was in the inspiration kit, and actually I didn't use any of the Great Escape. I used Tracy Reed's digital version, which is called Summer Camp, in my February kit, but it's virtually the same thing as the Cocoa Vanilla, the Great Escape. So I paused the video so I could do some gluing down. I did glue down the trim and I glued down the photos somewhat. I did put foam adhesive under portions of them so that they would lie flat, but also so that I could tuck things underneath them easily. The original layout had a lot of layers under those photos because she used a 49 and Market collection, and of course I'm using my How to Kill a Kit / counterfeit kit from February, and I don't have any of those types of layering bits in my kit. So I'm just using some scraps from this layout to tuck under there and to create some of those layers. I also have some acetate from an Allie Edwards story kit that I put in my February kit so that I would have plenty of different textures and things to play with. And so now I am just kind of getting everything laid down here so I have a good idea of where things are going to go. I am going to add a title other than Unplugged Together. The Unplugged Together can just be a subtitle, but I'm actually going to call this Layout Weekend Away, and I'm going to be using that wood grain alpha that you see off to the right hand side. That is a Simple Stories Color Vibe alpha. I love this one. I think I have a couple of them. Unless I've already used them, which is also possible because I tend to reach for those wood grain alphas pretty often. So I'll be putting the Unplugged up on some foam tape, so I'm not going to glue it down, but I am kind of gluing things down just a little bit here, just so things are not loose on my layout. I want to get all of this stuff on here. I remembered that in the original layout, Darla had a small cluster up on the top right. I'm just going to put that little banner there that says we were here, and that'll help draw your eyes across the page just a little bit. And then I'm going to just get the stuff glued down fairly well. Gonna add the title here in a second. Having a little bit of trouble with one of my wet glues. I was gone for 8 days on a cruise, and which means it didn't get used, so it's acting like it doesn't want to come out of the cap. So I'm going to have to take it apart and clean it out thoroughly. I tried just with my paper piercer earlier and it didn't work. So I know that this title doesn't stand out a lot on this page. That is intentional because I don't want to draw your eye away from the photos. I do want you to pay attention to the photos on my layout. And I also know that I'm not getting this title on here straight. I will fix that off camera, so just bear with me as I get the words down, and then off camera I will make sure I fix it so that they are straight. And again, I think the title looks fine even though it doesn't stand out a lot, because it just, like I said, I want to draw your eye to those photos, and I feel like leaving it this way is the best way to do it. All right, I got this layout completely finished and I'm really happy with it. I put these feathers in my kit knowing that I always struggle using them, so I was happy to use a few of them in these clusters. That gets some of them out of my stash and onto a page. I love all the texture that I created, the burlap and then the burlap trim and the wood veneer and just all of the elements. I did add a little bit of splatters using my Mr. Huey's Very Black. This is a very old spray, is not available any longer, and I have very, very little of it left at this point. In fact, it is really hard to get out of the container, so about done with one. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. Make sure that you check out that description box below for Darla Weber's social media accounts so that you can check out her awesomeness. She is an amazing and inspiring creator. She has a fairly new YouTube channel, and So we like to focus on new or YouTube channels who have fewer subscribers than others. We don't always make that, but it's nice to get back to the root of what Scraplift Crafternoon was created for this week and focus on somebody who has a relatively new channel. If you are not one of her subscribers, I suggest that you subscribe. Give her some love. Check out her Instagram account. She is amazing. You guys all have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.